Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name, of course, is Panther. Welcome your faces back to the channel today. And I've got an interesting conversation that I want to have with everybody, and this is something that is seemingly highly talked about, but we are completely in the dark as to what's happening, and that is the microtransactions system and what it will be in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Now, before we dive into this, I just want to say Modern Warfare looks pretty great. It looks like a beautiful game. It's got so many different options. It looks like it's just going to be, you know, a beautiful, well-rounded, perfect Call of Duty game, if I must say. Just watching the early gameplay, seeing everything that's being released and talked about, it looks superb. It looks like the old school Modern Warfare, but in a more modern setting, if you'll take that. I mean, it's basically revamping a game that was released pretty much a decade ago. So that's pretty crazy to think about, and I think the game looks absolutely phenomenal. So do a lot of other people. So do a lot of other people. And that's where my big concern comes in from. So we know that the microtransaction system in Call of Duty hasn't been the great. I mean, we have a full price $60 game. We always typically have a pass, except for this year. They're finally going away from the pass and releasing the DLC maps and everything for free. So that is super nice, but they have to generate some of that lost revenue somehow, and obviously that's going to be through the microtransactions. So a Call of Duty game generally releases, and if you want the full experience, you have to spend about $100. Then on top of that, they throw in even more things. A lot of the times they'll throw in weapons later on in the game's life cycle, camos that you can't get unless you directly purchase, things like that. It's pretty crazy. They try to get a lot of money, essentially, from the game. Right here, I'm actually just texting somebody in the gameplay. Yeah, so just disregard that, and it does get me killed, so it's fine. Don't text and play Call of Duty. Don't text and drive. Don't text and play Call of Duty. It's the same thing. Same general idea. Where was I going with that? I don't remember, so let's just move on forward. So the microtransaction system is always terrible. Some years it's friendly. A lot of years it is absolute just the worst thing in the world, worse than cancer. It's not actually worse than cancer. I just want to preface that by saying cancer is a terrible thing. Don't fucking kill me. But a lot of the times it seems to be worse during the Treyarch years. So Black Ops 2, if I can remember, going way back in time, was the first game to introduce microtransactions. I don't think there was another game that did that to the higher level. I think Modern Warfare 3 might have had something, but I can't remember. It's been a while. But Black Ops 2 introduced the camo packs, which came with camo, calling card, and different sights different reticles for your sights. You know, the reflex, EOTech, ACOG, shit like that. And since then, it's just gotten progressively worse. So what my personal belief on how the microtransaction system works, and everyone has their own ideas, so this is my personal belief. This makes the most amount of sense to me. So I think the studios have control over what kind of systems they implement with microtransactions. However, the kicker is I think Activision goes to the studios that are working on the current game and say, hey, each quarter we need you to hit this amount of dollars sold, this amount of profit being driven. So basically what I think is Activision notices that Treyarch have the highest selling and most played games. If you kind of take a look through the history, you'll see Treyarch games are fairly always well received for the most part. Obviously there are people and things in the games that are not liked, but for the most part, a lot of people think Treyarch is king, Treyarch is the best. I personally do think that Treyarch is king. Even after the mishap of Black Ops 4, you know, they've released 5 games, World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of those 5 games, they really only had 1 dud, so 4 of them are still top-notch. So personally, I think Treyarch still is bomb compared to some of the other studios here. Well, just the other studios, basically. So they see that Treyarch has these high numbers, so they give Treyarch a higher amount of dollars to bring in each quarter. So basically what I think happens is Activision says, okay, 4th quarter is when the new game releases, around Christmas time, around holidays, blah, blah, blah. So it's fine. You know, new game sale, $60 plus the pass, which is being scrapped this year. That's fine. That'll bring in enough money right there. And then that also, without the microtransaction systems being just absolutely fucking us in the ass, it gets the reviews up. So when people review the game, you know, they get a lot higher. They get oh my goodness, I'm tripping over words. They get higher scores, essentially. They'll get like 9 out of 10 stars or whatever, 4 out of 5 stars. However you want to look at that. And then after Christmas, after everyone has it, typically kind of in about January, is when they'll throw in the awful microtransaction systems. But they'll introduce it slowly. You know, they'll be like, oh, we've got some supply drops. Here you go. You can buy supply drops. Still cosmetic only. Cool. And then just a few months later, they'll introduce the weapons. And that's kind of how the cycle's been going for a little while now. And I think it's awful. It really sucks that the predatory systems generate so much money, because if they didn't generate money, obviously they wouldn't be doing that anymore. But they're generating loads and loads of revenue. If you look at Activision's earnings, essentially, for each quarter when they publicly release those, it's crazy. They make so much money. I think this last quarter, I can't remember what it actually was. I was just looking at it the other day, but in this last quarter, they did like $800 million, which is insane. Obviously, that's a lump sum of all of their games, but I don't think they've had a newly released game within that quarter. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So that has to all be basically like microtransactions. It has to be. There's no way that it wouldn't be. Obviously, it might be, you know, some Black Ops passes included in there and some stuff from Overwatch, but that's an insane high amount of money to be bringing in. So why that concerns me is Activision sees all of the hype going on around Modern Warfare. It's a beautiful game. Everyone is so excited for it. That grenade fucking sucked. Yeah, everyone's super excited for Modern Warfare. So with that, I can expect Activision to set some really, really high goals for Infinity Ward to be generating each quarter. Personally, you know, the other games haven't been very well received. In Infinite Warfare, World War II, it was all right, but it wasn't as well received. So obviously they had less money to bring in, which made sense because not as many units sold. However, more units sold from World War II than Black Ops 4, but it seems that Black Ops 4 has generated more income because of the predatory systems, which is just fucking terrible to think about. People need to... I mean, I'm not one to speak on microtransactions. Everyone can spend their money how they want it, but it's just crazy. So yeah, that's just super concerning to me that Activision might be seeing all of the hype generated around Modern Warfare, and with the fact that they have to recover losses from not having a season pass, that's going to drive microtransactions up even more. So personally, I think they're going to set some really high numbers for Infinity Ward to hit, and it just basically falls down to how Infinity Ward wants to do their microtransactions. If they want to do it similar to Infinite Warfare, to where you just have to do some challenges to unlock some weapons and then just do some crates. You know, they might not even be able to do crates due to the new bill that's being passed, but that is a different topic for another time. Personally, I don't think that's going to affect Call of Duty because it's just for minors, and this is, you know, an M-rated game, but whatever. I'll get into that some other day. So yeah, it just really, really concerns me, because they're going to have some extremely high numbers to hit. They have to do something to make up the losses for not having a season pass, and it's just really concerning. And we haven't heard anything basically on how the microtransaction system is going to work. There's been no official statement, no kind of confirmation of anything, so it's just really scary. I could see a lot of stuff going down. You know, I could see a lot of stuff happening. Maybe some new attachments, like, you know, there's I can't remember the exact number, like 360 different kind of combinations for attachments. Could you imagine if they put more into microtransactions, like an FMJ or something around that? That'd be insane. So I'm not giving them any ideas, but it is just really concerning to me, and it really worries me, because if the base game is good, then that's great. You know, the base game needs to be good in order for those high microtransaction sales to come up. But if the base game is bad and the microtransaction system is bad, then that's just a complete mess all around. So I'm hoping the base game itself of Modern Warfare will be good enough that I can ignore how bad the microtransaction system is if it is terrible. So that's just my hope. It sounds like it could come true. that the base game itself will be stellar, almost perfect. There's a few minor gripes that some people have, but overall, I think it looks great. I think it looks excellent. There's so many things that they're doing to make it perfect this year. I've got this crazy itch on my nose, and I don't know what it is. I think it's like a hair from my dog, but I don't know. I'm not doing cocaine, I swear. So that's basically my thoughts around the microtransaction system in the new Modern Warfare game. So we haven't heard anything. It's all just speculation at this point. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know if you're excited for Modern Warfare, if you're nervous for how the microtransactions are going to pan out. And yeah, let's just have a conversation down there. Anyways, my name, of course, has been Panther. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I'm just gonna let the rest of this gameplay just pan out here. So, see ya.